If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of the stream from the Big Homie 7 Dusted. Do we have a title for the stream yet?
We
do not have a title for the stream.
that I saw. Maybe he emailed it and I didn't see it. We all know how that goes.
We all
know about my emails and our tech issues. All right, up next is Grateful Dead, A Touch of Grey. The Big Homie 7 Dusted says, like them or not, they're fucking legends.
True.
The ultimate jam band. While I'm not their biggest fan, I've always loved this song. My wife, Mrs. 7, is a huge fan. This is definitely one of the things she's influenced me in our lives. Thanks, my darling.
All right, so the Grateful Dead. Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't really peg 7 as a Grateful Dead person, but now I see his
influence.
Now I see wifey's influence.
Mrs. 7.
Mrs. 7. Shout out to Mrs. 7,
yep,
by the way.
Shout out to you.
Gang shit. Okay.
I'm sure we'll meet one day.
Yeah. You guys are the only ones that can deal with us.
And we too will have conversation. You should. As a matter of fact, you should email me.
Oh boy. I'd rather not. I'd rather you not. All right, here we go. The Grateful Dead, Touch of Grey. Let's do it. Is this really the song? This immediately sounds happy, bro.
I was like, I like it. Yes.
Yeah.
I like this one.
Was it Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Touch of Grey. This song reminds me of that Modest Mouse song.
Oh.
Float on.
Oh yeah, you're
But,
right.
bad stuff happens,
Yeah.
but take a positive
Yeah.
perspective on it.
Yep.
He said a fake Jamaican took everything I had in a
I
scam.
forgot. Yeah.
And then he says it was worth it just to learn some sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Like he found a way to find something positive inside the negative.
Yep.
So it reminds me of Modest Mouse, but I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that these guys are way before Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse came out
1987.
This song came out in 1987. Okay, so yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So these guys were before Modest Mouse, obviously. So I would say that Modest Mouse got their idea from these guys, probably. You know what I'm saying? Like you make a song and it's talking about like the good side of bad things, I guess you could say. All right, so
I like it because I noticed that my song list that was like generating on my phone, like by suggestion, was not very positive. Like a lot of it was like songs after tragedy or loss or like everything. It was like a lot of depressing. And so I like stuff like this because it it has a chill sound to it. The music does. And it makes you feel like I want to be in the sun, maybe in my backyard, in another state that's warm, a nice lounge chair.
Yeah.
It's going to be all right. Like there's serious stuff that we have to deal with in life and everybody has to face stuff. But at the same time, like we can get by. And I think that, you guys have a relationship. We have a relationship. Stuff's not always easy for us. I'm sure the same is with you guys.
you talking about Seven and Nick?
Yeah. Yeah. But like, there is a sense in which you decide together, like, we're going to get by together. Like, we're going to go through this together and we're going to come out of it on the other side together. And that doesn't mean that there haven't been times where one or both of us have been selfish and it added more pain to a given situation than there needed to be. But I think at the end of the day, you got to figure out what your goal is. And if your goal is, like, we want to be together, we also want to get by. So you make it happen together and you figure out what that looks like for you personally. So this song to me was like the positive side of, I don't know what like the bridge meant.
What, I will get by?
The Ables and the Bakers and the C's, the ABCs we all must face, try to keep a little grace. It's a lesson to me, the Deltas and the East and the Freeze. The ABCs we all think of to try to win a little love.
DEF.
What?
Right? The Ables, Bakers, and the C's, that's ABCs.
Yeah.
And then Delta and East and F are DEF.
What is he saying? Like there's stuff that we're all trying to do to get by and also to win love in the process?
I think ABCs are the basics of language.
Okay.
And I think he's saying that there's certain situations in life that are just the basics of life. And you're just going to learn. It's just these are life lessons for you to learn. Mm-hmm. So just interpret these things as life lessons, like ABCs. Like just like the ABCs are the basics of learning language. Mm-hmm. And when you're a kid and your parent tells you A and the kid repeats A, he doesn't really know what's going on. But the parent's like, just memorize this thing, okay?
It'll all make sense to you soon enough.
And then when you get older, you realize, oh, that's why I needed the ABCs. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's situations that happen to you in life that teach you things that when you're going through them initially, you're like, why am I going through this? Blah, blah, blah. When in reality, it's like, yeah, man, if you wait around, this is another thing about people taking themselves out, because there's so many issues in life that if you wait around long enough, you will see why they happen. A lot of the time. If you wait around long enough and you have certain circumstances in your life and it gets difficult, you'll see that you learned something from it, mm-hmm. and that it's positive, but you got to give yourself time to learn that. So right. I think that's how I interpreted the ABC thing. But isn't that guy? It's not Jerry Lewis. I feel like the guy's name is Jerry something. The lead singer of the Grateful Dead. Isn't it the fat guy in the tie-dye shirt?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know. Jerry Garcia is the guy's name. Okay, right there, because Brandon just said it. R.I.P. Jerry Garcia. Yeah, shout out to Michelle. I've never heard anybody say that this dude is a brilliant lyricist. But to be fair, like I haven't really looked a lot at their work of this band.
Yeah.
But that's some brilliant writing. If what he said about the 80s. See, right there, he literally says it's a lesson to me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The deltas and the east and the freeze.
Yeah, but the way that he put ABC in there, the Ables, the Bakers, and the C's, the ABCs, and then he talks about the deltas, the east, and the freeze, that's DEF.
Yeah.
Like, that is some...
Oh, okay, all right.
That is some smart writing. That's
I like
some
this.
really, really good writing in there.
He says try to keep a little grace when he's talking about the lessons that you're going to learn, the ABCs and stuff. And I think that's grace. That's one thing that I'm like really trying to learn at this like point in my life is grace for myself and grace for the people around me.
Yep.
You know, and what that looks like. So.
Yeah.
When I say grace, I mean like coming from the worldview that we have, everybody's a sinner. Everybody's going to do things that are wrong. We're going to hurt each other and we're going to be hurt by each other. And, you know, we have a really close-knit family. We're all here. We homeschool. We work our business together. We do everything together.
Gang shit.
Yeah. But in the process, when you spend a lot of time with people, you're going to end up hurting them. They're going to end up hurting you. And so, like, trying to kind of, like, back out of a situation and understand why a person is doing a certain thing doesn't mean you don't say, hey, that hurt me. Shout out to her.
Hey,
but it does mean that when something happens, you do say that it hurt you, but you try to look at why did that person do that? You know, like, the person didn't sleep last night, or did the person, you know, have some horrible thing happen with their job, or did they, you know what I mean? You know these people intimately, so they're your family. So sometimes, like, I recognize, oh, okay, well, maybe the kids just had a conversation with their mother that was frustrating to them or upsetting. Well, now they're doing this thing. So it's like, oh, okay, there's some connection there. It doesn't give excuses for bad behavior, but it gives you a little bit of understanding so that way, you know, you address the things that need to be addressed, but at the same time having a little grace for people. And for me, having it for myself, because I can't stand failure. I can't stand not measuring up. I hate that I can't be a perfect person. That really, really grates on me. And the more kids we get in the family, like the bigger our family gets, the more like I guess your flaws become more transparent because you're stretched more. So, what's going to make you break kind of comes sooner when you're more stressed out. So, just recognizing I'm not a perfect person. I can't accomplish all the things that I want to accomplish, but I should go all out on the things that I want to. I don't know. It's still something that I'm processing through because being gracious to myself and being gracious to everybody around me is not always my number one priority. Certainly not to give myself grace.
Yeah.
But if you're not gracious with yourself and you can't give yourself a little bit of space, then you're going to use that same measuring stick for other people around you, and you can make people's lives really miserable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that if you don't know how to be gracious to yourself first, yeah, that's true. But that's a big part of being able to see the silver lining in life. Really starts with that. It really starts with being, you know, Peterson talked about this, treating yourself the way you would treat a friend. Like if your friend made a mistake, most of us would be a lot more apt to say, no, it's okay, you made a mistake, you know, don't beat yourself up. But then when we do it, we're not as gracious to each other. And if you do that over a period of time, you deplete the emotional resources that you have to give other people.
Yep.
So if you're constantly beating yourself up, eventually you're going to hit an event horizon where you become a really bitter person. And then what ends up happening is you start holding people to this insanely impossible standard that you hold yourself to. And then you become the type of person that everybody looks at and goes, oh, that guy's a dick. He's tired. He's this, he's that.
Yeah.
You know, you see it all the time in the workplace. Like, oh, that guy he's horrible.
Yeah,
and, oh, he's
you
a
become
terrible
a tyrant.
boss. And there are horrible bosses. There are horrible employees and things like that. But a lot of it has to do with underneath, the person has no grace for themselves at all. They're absolutely horrible to themselves. And because they're so horrible to themselves, and they're with, I mean, essentially, their bully is traveling with them everywhere.
That's what I was going to say. Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And then what ends up happening is, like, your mind starts trying to figure out ways to not have to realize, like, all that failure, all that bullying. And so then, then your mind can start getting dishonest with yourself. Well, maybe that wasn't that big of a deal. You start making excuses for stuff instead of actually addressing it because you don't have the necessary resources to deal with why you did or why you are a certain way. So then, people busy themselves with other things. Get busy so you don't have to focus on what needs to change because you feel incapable of doing so. But yeah, if you live with a bully, what's that saying? Hurt people hurt people. Mm-hmm. You can't bully yourself internally for days, years on end without it having an effect on the people that you love around you. It will.
Yeah. Yeah, hurt people hurt people. There's a woman who got aggressive with me earlier that I just politely responded to. A soft answer turns away wrath.
Yep.
Minutes later, I learned she almost crashed her car before and was freaking out. She was fighting with the driver. There it is. Right there. Like,
I learned she almost crashed. Yep.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
But if he would have responded like most of us would have responded, or like I would have responded, then he wouldn't have been able. I'm sure him responding politely and then she tells him what happens, that helped her.
I'm sure
She
it did.
ventilated, that helped her.
Yeah.
But he didn't. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why, like, God at times, like, would you just? Why you have to say stuff like that? Mm-hmm. Like, there's no reason for you to say stuff like that, bro. Like that. That's why they respond to you. That you just a dick sometimes, man. Mm. And I'm like, yeah. But like, you learn from people like Ian. He's got a real sweet spirit about him. He texts me, asks me a question about he's just a good. So you got people around you that you try to learn, you try to learn from and shit. You know what I'm saying? He's one of them. But like, I also see what Luminous is saying is there can be lessons in finding the silver lining. It's also a way to just accept injustice.
Yes.
That's also true.
Yes. But that's why I said you have to address the issues while at the same time understanding where they're coming from.
Yes, you did. Yes. And that's the balance and the maturity the wisdom that you get. But he's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is absolutely the way to say,
That's how girls will stay in abusive relationships. Well, he's nice. He said sorry. He brought me flowers, but he did that abusive stuff. Like, no, like that doesn't erase that.
Right.
Like, you can understand, like, maybe he came from an abusive backdrop, blah, 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 and this is the reason why he is the way he is. But that still has to get addressed. You can't stay in a situation where you're getting abused or whatever the thing is. Like, this, I agree. I think that yeah, you definitely have to still address the problems. You can't just, cover them over. Yikes.
Yeah, I favorited your comments, Michelle, so I'll be able to look at them. Post review. But yeah, I do agree. Like, there's a way to be Pollyannish about the world and unrealistic and try to find a silver cloud and everything and try to. But that what Luminous is pointing out just goes to show with anything. Like, people say, oh, look what the Christians did in the Crusades, blah blah blah. It's like people can take any good principle and bastardize it for evil. So this is one of them. Mm-hmm. Because any mental health professional will tell you the concept and philosophy of having a silver lining is eminently powerful to keeping you alive if you're in a certain kind of mind state. However, evil people can get hold of this brilliant concept and use it to keep people in the situation that they're in. Because if you can convince people that, but here's the deal, it's a silver lining. That means there is a gray cloud that we do have to deal with. The silver lining is a portent that we can get to the light. But you get some bad actors who try to pretend to people that the lining is actually thicker than it really is, and that they're in a better situation than they actually are.
Yeah. No,
and so that's an example where a person can use a very powerfully positive principle and bastardize it in order to keep people in a certain kind of position. So a lot of wisdom today where people are, it's true. And that's why you got to think with nuance. And that's why, like, again, like when I see Christians being violent and all types of crazy shit, and I'm like, yeah, you can't justify that biblically. I'm not going to blame that on Jesus. Like, you could take anything and bastardize it. You could take the best thing in the world and turn it into something horrible if it gets into the hands of really evil people. But yeah, like the song, it had like a happy feel at the beginning. It was I think of the major chord intro, but like that chorus, I feel like I've heard that chorus. I will get by. I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, it did sound familiar.
I don't know if I heard that in a commercial. I don't know.
Maybe it was, because this is Grateful Dead, so.
I don't know. What does that mean? Do they do a lot of commercials?
They're just... No, I don't know that. I'm just saying, like, there were a few bands that even though we weren't knowledgeable about music and stuff when we were growing up, like, there was still ones that kind of, like, split through the crack. Grateful Dead, Metallica, Pink Floyd. Like, you would see shirts of them, and I knew that those bands existed.
You knew about them.
Yeah, you saw the... Aren't they the ones with the dancing colored bears?
Who?
Grateful Dead. Who is that? I meant the wrong
Dancing
band.
Colored Bear?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask Seven, he'll tell you. But
anyway, so usually whenever there's a really popular band that is so popular that it broke through in my in the bubble I was living in, usually those bands ended up in commercials.
I mean, it's very okay. So that's probably where I saw them. Then it was probably in a commercial.
See.
So, good catch. But
the Grateful Dead Bears.
I think
you never seen these?
They're all colorful and shit. Was it the Care Bears?
No, they're not the Care Bears. Holy
shit. All I remember... That's yours. That'd be your icon. That'd be your icon. Train's only going to one station. You put that shit on Facebook. And the Ripper was like, yeah, I'm not going to...
But that was still her. That was still her engaging with it.
Yeah. Bringing attention to it. Yeah, this was a chill song, man. But like I said, that chorus is like toward the end, I was like singing along with it because I'm like, yeah, I feel like I heard that chorus before. 9.4 for me.
I will say two things. It did sound positive at the beginning, like kind of, but then I'm not sure if as it transitioned throughout the song, if it began to feel more like they were trying to convince themselves they were going to get by. I'm not sure if that was just how I experienced it, but either way.
Yeah.
I think that there's a little of that in everything, right? If you're like, we're going to get by, we're going to survive this, we're going to do it. Like, I think there's a bit of difficulty in everything. And I think that a lot of us, if not all of us, come to quit points where we want to quit at something and we want to say, you know what? This is too difficult to keep practicing this grace, or this is too difficult to do this or that. Yeah. And then you decide, like, am I going to keep pushing through or am I going to stop? And, you know, I don't know. Have you ever, like, stopped something that was good for you, but it was difficult, and then you looked back and you were like, I'm so glad I didn't keep going with that difficult thing that was good for me. You know what I mean? Like, most times the stuff that we stop that's healthy and difficult and we don't keep going with it because it's too difficult ends up being the some of our biggest regrets. But it depends, you know, anyway, so I liked it. I liked the idea of just getting by. Also liked the sound of it and the positivity of, you know, keeping that positive edge on the thing instead of getting super, super depressed.
So what did you give it?
9.8. I like this one a lot.
All right. 9.4 for me. I feel like this is a classic song, though.
I also think this would be a good song to wake up to.
I feel like if you were a Grateful Dead fan, they'll probably say that this is a classic song. But I'll have to see.
Could be.
All right, dear listener, we shall return very, very, very shortly. And when we return, we will be listening to... Tell the people what we'll be listening to.
Mr. Big Green Tinted 60s Mind.
Mr. Big Green Tinted 60s Mind. If you can figure that out, dear listener.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.